Hi folks, there's sure a lot of geese here today, isn't there? This is Horseshoe Lake, Southern Illinois, Horseshoe Lake Conservation Area. We're back here in the back part of the refuge. You can see everything's froze up. It's the first day of January 2001. Happy New Year. It's early in the morning and we come down to look at some geese. I want to show you a little about blowing the StraitMeat honker. If you look at this right here, you can see there's a lot of vocalization between these geese out here. Right now they're a little excited. They might have heard my truck pull up or whatever. They'll calm down. But when geese start flying into each other, when they start coming in like this, they get real vocal. And that's kind of what got me started in this. It just amazes me to watch the geese lock up, come in, how they work to each other. And they'll not work the same every day. If you watch some of these geese here, I know a lot of you guys and the girls go out there and you set up a big spread and everything's perfect. You call good. Nobody got to see. So why didn't they come in? Well, sometimes they're just not going to do it. Sometimes they won't do it to live geese. I've watched these geese circle over all these live ones and go out to the next field, or maybe like 50 yards off. So you're not always doing something wrong. But mainly, what I like to show you is do what I'm doing here. Go up into some refuges, some parks. If you got parks at home, whatever, there's a lot of resident geese in. If you can get next to refuges like this, go out and watch these geese. Listen to them and pay a lot of attention to when geese are coming in. When geese are flying out, pay attention to this vocalization that they're doing, talking to each other. They're just like us, they're talking back and forth. If you stay there long enough, you're going to understand what they're saying. The geese on the ground, in my opinion, don't want the geese in the air to be in there. They want their own little area here. And these geese are coming in here, to me, they're getting up and saying, hey, this is my deal, get out of here, you go over here somewhere. That's why they're up clucking, but it works in the opposite. It calls them right in. It just brings them right on in. So we're going to try to show you how to make some of these sounds, but you yourself can kind of watch these geese and learn how to make those sounds, or how to make the rhythms, what to do when the geese are coming. Migrators are different than calling like young family flocks of resident geese. So you have to kind of watch both things. But what I'm going to try to do is to show you our new StraitMeat honker that we come out with about a year ago. I have a CD and cassette out, but I want to show you hands-on how to blow this call. So I'm going to show you a little bit about our StraitMeat honker, new call we come out with. One reason I got these in here for a couple of reasons. When it gets this cold, I get a lot of calls about, and one of the things I get a lot of shows and people are asking, will your call freeze up? If my first thing I'm going to tell you is sure it will. If you blow saliva into it, when you're blowing, you're going to spit into it, and it's just normal. It's going to be in the call. That's just part of it. It's water. It's going to freeze. If you keep it out in the open, it's going to freeze. So try as much you can to keep this inside. I've got a lot of calls on my lanyard for different things here, but try to keep your calls inside to keep it from freezing. This jacket here, the browning coat, and you can keep your call. There's a call pocket here. There's a real neat little deal here. You can keep the call inside, zip it up like that. Got a long tab, zip it out, and your call's out. It makes a big difference. A lot in duck hunting, I find it as much as anything, the reed slapping it and sticking on a duck call, because the reed is a lot thinner on a duck call. So if you can, keep this inside, keep it inside your waders or whatever, because it's outside of these elements, it's going to freeze shut. So this is our short reed honker, StraitMeat honker. It's a short reed style call. Length makes a lot of difference on these short reed calls from one end to the other. This call right here, this year in 2000, we won. Sean Stahl from Allegan, Michigan. He won the World Championship at Easton, Maryland this year with us. So, and I got third myself, and Matt Porter from Northern Illinois tied for sixth. And in the year 2000, the first year out, we're pretty proud of it because we've made probably, I think, 10 to 12 contests when we won more than any other call. So we're real happy for the first year out. And I've got a lot of real nice guys and real good callers blowing my call, and I'm really proud of it. And I want to tell them thanks. This particular call right here, we 45'd this end right here. We did this for several reasons. The main reason is we got a good handhold on the call right here. And that is the most important reason. Another reason is when you want to take the call apart, you got a place to twist it to bring apart. But we patented the call, and the reason we did is because of the way our band's made. Our band is made like this, for a couple of reasons. One thing is just kind of neat and indifferent, but another reason is wood. I don't have a wood call with me right here, but in a wood call, we make wood from here down on the barrel. This is the insert. This end right here I do acrylic in any color you'd like. I can put, this could be coca-cola wood, hedge wood, bodock, bird's eye maple, almost any wood you'd like, but this end here I keep in acrylic. The reason being is for splitting. A lot of problems in a call splitting, and you're never going to solve all those problems. But if all that saliva is going down in here in the part that holds your reed, you're going to have problems. It soaks in and then it dries out. You put it in your truck in the heater and it dries and now expands. Your guts fall out. Which I mean by guts is inside your tone channel, your wedge, and that falls out. So that's a reason. A lot of the reason if you leave this acrylic and this wood, you don't have those problems, but you get the mellowness of the wood barrel. And the band presses over and caps that wood and stops a lot of the splitting. So that's the reason we did it, and like I say, we went ahead and we patented the call, and we're pretty proud of it. But to blow this call, to hold your hands, you take your thumb and your index finger and wrap around just like this, and you won't slide off. You take these three fingers, take them in unison, and bring them right on around like this. Do not close this hole off in here, leave it open, and you've got a hole right here in the end for your air to come out. You take your left hand, or your right if you're left-handed, the palm of your hand right here, you bring around and touch these two together like this. That's a good way to start. You're making, at this time, you're making a pocket right here. And what that does is, your air comes out, hits the pocket, just like that. Now, you've got your hands right. To make it a little deeper, you can bring your hands down, choke the call off, you can open it up, we'll show you this a little bit later. To blow this call, one thing we did on this is the mouthpiece. We molded our lips and took an impregnation of our lips and turned it into the mouthpiece so this won't slide off. If it was straight mouthpiece, I know a lot of times I used to get a real hard, after blowing all day long at Migrators and stuff where you're blowing a lot, I would get a chapped lips and stuff in the cold because it cut into my lips. With a round mouthpiece that fits your lips is this. And it's real easy on it. And what this also does is closes the air around this hole by being molded like that. So now we take the call, we put to our lips, and I always try to say, if you watch a musician like a trumpet player, if you watch a trumpet player, he tucks his lips, he doesn't blow out of his cheeks, he comes out of his throat. And all of his notes come right out of his throat like that, and he's not flipping his tongue. Now in this call here, you do not flip your tongue up and down like this. Leave your tongue down. You take the tip of your tongue and place it behind the back of your bottom front teeth and leave it there. You let the air roll over the top of your teeth. Now, unlike on the flute call, on my flute call, the meat cutter, you have to flip your tongue. On this call here, you want it rolling over the top. The reason being because it's short, and the air has to blow straight through the call. Where on a flute call, it has to run right through the call. The air has to run right on through, and you have to pop it out of there. Okay. Now, by letting the air run over the top of your tongue, it does a couple things. One thing, you can open this hand up if you want a flag. And another thing it does, it's a lot easier because it's coming right out of here. You don't have to worry about flipping your tongue. If you have to flip your tongue, you can't come up with those notes real fast. And it's a lot, believe me, it's a lot easier on it. So let's leave our tongue down, and now with your tongue down, you can't say any words anymore. So now, if you were blowing a flute call, you'd be saying to-wit, and cut a note through your tongue. Instead of saying to-wit, you're going to say ooh-it, 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 ooh-it. Turn the call around, it would be like this. Now, everybody wants to come like a duck call, and you get that buzzy sound, and it's not just come easy. It's a very easy call to blow. You just come right out of your throat. Ooh it, ooh it. To get the ooh, it's just real easy. Don't try it real hard. Ooh. get the it, ooh, it. Just accent the it. Okay. If you want to get 2 geese, it's a movement of these hands. We'll go back to the hands. Okay, you move those hands. Or you can do it by leaving your hands like this and changing the vocalization in your throat. Ooh, eh, 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 eh. Never move my hand. Or you can do it with the hand. If you take your hands off, so when you're flagging, by flagging is one of the most important things in goose hunting, I think. With the geese, see a flag a long ways off, and you can get their attention back with the call. It's all part of one unison, the way I see it. But to go on with the call here, now these are your basic notes. Once you learn these clucks, these are clucks, and you do clucks, moans, feeding growl. To me, that's what kills geese. In competition, we do a lot more than that. But the clucks, moan, and feeding growl is the basics of the straight meat part of goose hunting. A lot of these migrators that are coming in, they're coming in and they're blowing up, and there's specks in the sky up here. I mean, they're just little specks up in the sky, and we're just going crazy with them. We're doing anything to get that noise up there, to get their attention, kind of like duck calling when you got migrators, when you're in that long high ball, and it doesn't even sound like a duck, but you got their attention. So now we've got the geese up here, we got their attention, and now they're seeing the whole deal. You get your clucks, moans, and your feeding growl. Now, to do just a straight cluck on here, you take the ooh off, and you eh, 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 eh. Okay, that's the main thing. When you start this call, start with those. Don't go any farther in this tape than that right there. Play this back and forth, whatever it takes to get it. Call me, whatever it takes. Practice that a lot. It's just like you got on a bicycle the first time with the training wheels on. You ride it a long time before you have Dad take them off. A lot of you people out there, a lot of you guys out there, it will be very easy for you and you can go right on. But if you get that down and get it good, get that clucks good, it'll just roll for you. This call, the short reed, I think, especially for a guy that's been blowing a flute call a lot, he is so used to flipping that tongue, and what he'll do is start sticking the call because he's so used to having these hands down tight and sticking the call. There's nothing wrong with a flute call. I blow a flute call a lot in the field. But it's a whole different system here. You have to leave that tongue down, and that's very hard. But once you learn that, it's just like, I mean, it is easy. I mean, it is a real easy call. It's kind of hard to master. And hard to get used to. I should say it's harder to get used to, but it's real easy to master. So once you get these clucks down, you can start rolling with it. Now, to get the moan, I personally think the moan should be one of the last things you learn, but I'm going to show you a little bit about the moan because the cluck and the moan kind of go hand in hand. The moan is probably one of the hardest things there is to do on a call. Once you get it, it's real easy. I try to do it as a noise like you'd hear a donkey do. Ee-aw, 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 with your tongue down. Remember, every note on this call with your tongue down. Ee-aw, ee-aw, ee-aw. Now, if you notice, that's not coming deep out of my throat. Ee-aw, 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 ee-aw. It's going right out of here. It's not coming up out of here. It's going out of here. Ee-aw, ee-aw, ee-aw. In the back of the call, ee-aw, ee-aw, ee-aw. That can be a real good confidence call. You hear a lot of geese coming in. Add a cluck in there. Now, the geese start to leave you. You got them all the way in here. They start to leave you. This same moan can be your comeback call. Just get a little more excited with it. Ee-aw, 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 ee-aw. your face. Okay. If that moan can be added right into the clucks. That's kind of hard to do. Just take it easy, take your time. Don't try to do all this fast stuff. Just practice like this. Ee-yaw. You can do it when it doesn't take any. Ee-yaw, ee-yaw, ee-yaw. Tongue down. Now, your clucks, throw your clucks back there. Eh, eh, eh. Eh, eh, aw. Eh, eh, aw. Eh, aw. Okay. Now you're going to get excited again. Ee-yaw, ee-yaw. It's easy to do. It's very easy to do. Just stay right on it. Just stay right with it. Don't quit on it. Just keep rolling that. Keep practicing. Oh. You can take the E off. It's a lot easier to start by just doing ah, 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 and then put the E. E, ah. Okay. Now, you've got your clucks, you got your moans down. Now, we've used the moan as a comeback call. There's another comeback call that you can use, and it's look ooh, eh ooh, eh ooh, eh ooh, eh ooh. Eh ooh, eh ooh, eh ooh. Your tongue down. It's basically a cluck and a ooh. In the back of the call. Sometimes you use that call. More than anything, when I use that call, is when we got a bunch. Let's say we got a bunch of 9 or 10 in here. We got a bunch of migrators in, and 9 or 10 come in, and we shot 6 of them. We got 3 of them going out. This works really good in the early season. We also kind of called a burnt call because we just got done burning them good, and we're trying to get them back. So what happens is that one of them might have lost its mate. It might be young geese that's been with the mom and dad all year, with the family. He's never been away with anything else. Now that we just killed them. They're right here and they're lost. So here they come back. It's a pleading call. So before you get out there and go, yeah, this is it, you know, and it's a good time, you might want to get back in, shove some shells in your gun, check your safety, shove some, get down, and let somebody start back on that and load his gun for him while he's doing it. And you might get these back. We're getting excited now. These geese are all going to go out to feed. We're going to have to get out and fit. Time when you can use this comeback call is you shot those geese, and it's nuisance season, it's September. You got little family groups of geese out there. I'm telling you, that probably is when it works the best, because these geese are young. They were just born this year. They ain't been away from mom or dad. Now the mom gets, you just shot the mom, the little ones are confused, or you shot the little ones, the mom's around, she's coming back. I'm almost bet you it's going to work. So get back down if you're hunting out in a hayfield in a eliminator blind, or if you're hunting in cornfields, whatever, your pit blind, whatever you're hunting in, you got to chase them a little bit in the nuisance season. But after you shoot them, get back, get your limit quick. And another thing this does for you, you harvest those geese, you hurry up, you've got your limit, and you're out of the field. Now, I'm not trying to rush your hunt, but a lot of times you go to a pay club or something, you'll say, well, my hunt sure was rushed. Well, one reason they're doing that is because not just to get another hunter in or something, they want out of the field so those geese can come back in there. So tomorrow, you can kill some more tomorrow in there. So they're used to the field and not used to somebody shooting them, so you're not banging up every bunch of geese. So that's a real good call to use. It's ooh. It's your comeback call. Now, let's go into your feeding ground. This is a finishing call. This is what this call is about. It's a straight meat call. It's right before you pull the trigger, and this is when I call it the quiver, kind of the quiver call, because my guts get quivering when this happens. I've hunted them for a lot of years, and when that stops, I guess I'll quit. But just the other day, I mean, we got migrators coming out where you got them flying around, you're waiting for that perfect shot, and it's just, you just don't want to move, and your head good and all this, and you don't know what, you don't want to make a loud cluck when they go over your head. You don't want to make a loud cluck or anything. A lot of times you lose those geese because they're going over top of your head, and you start just keep. Now you see that head looking. He's looking for that call. He's like a turkey. He found that place. He pinpointed where you're at. Let him go a little bit, and he comes over. As soon as he gets back, he gets around to your side, get on him again. Now he's coming in. We're going to do this feeding ground, which goes like this. Now, you hear a lot of these geese do that when they're feeding in the corn and that. If you go to a park, it's a real neat place to do it in the summertime or something. You hear them going. When they're eating, when they're having fun, everything's all right. So that's the last little thing that'll bring them right into you. It's a real easy call to make on this guy. If you gargle, if you got up in the morning, you brush your teeth and you gargle, you're going to cock your head back, lay your tongue down, you're going to gargle. Or you flip your tongue up, you're going to drown yourself. So you got your tongue down, going gar 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 right out of your throat. It's not coming out of here, it's coming out of here because you're trying to gargle your throat. You do that tomorrow morning, go in the bathroom, take your goose call. Gar 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 gar. You're hearing the clucks in there. If I push this a little bit, gar 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 gar. Sounds like a lot of geese on the ground. That's what you're trying to do. So it's a real easy call to make. A lot of people get too real harsh with it. It's a little bit too harsh. Listen to those geese here. If you had a cluck with it. Now, that cluck I just made. If you watch it, geese on the ground out here, when geese are coming in, that's what he's going to be doing. Now, I've showed you just about everything with the double cluck. This is one of the calls everybody wants to know because it really sounds neat. This is an attention, to me, this is an attention getter. If you want to hear a good double cluck, go out in the spring and the mating season, you'll hear a lot of them. They kind of go like it. A lot of times geese get up. Okay, a lot of times I do that on migrators and that to get their attention. I don't use it a whole lot, just when if the geese are just coming over the timber right behind me, low like some of these geese have been coming in, I wouldn't use that call. I'd probably use it like the two goose call with two clucks. I'd probably go back to that. I don't use that double cluck a lot, but the way you do make that sound is back in the back of your throat, you lay your tongue down, and you go, aka. If I could spell it, I didn't win a lot of spelling bees. It would be AKA, 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 with your tongue down, aka, aka. Start slow, aka. A lot of people have been telling you, bring this out of your throat. A lot of people have a lot of trouble. They say, well, where at in your throat? Where's this come from? A couple ways. I don't wear glasses, but if I did, and I took a pair of glasses out, I want to clean these glasses. To wipe them off. That's where it comes from. Right there at your throat. Didn't come out of your gut. It goes. It's like that. Or if you cough, clear your throat right there. Come out of your throat right there. What I try to tell people is like this. To make the reed snap on these calls, whether it's a duck call, fluke call, or it's this call right here, it has to pop. It has to pop like this reed has to pop, just like this. If you're blowing out of your cheeks, it's doing this. It's going sideways, like it's fluttered. It's not popping. That popping's that crack you're getting on that call, that real good crack of the call. It's like this. It's short burst of air coming out of your throat. It's not a lot. Out of your throat, you'd be out of air the second cluck. It's a little short burst of air. It's like this. The best way I know to explain it, you went home and you flipped on your garden hose. Turn the garden hose on, let it run. It's got about this big around and this water goes everywhere. You got lots of volume. Kind of like the same thing come out of here. A lot of volume. No pressure. It's just air flowing out. There's no pressure. Kind of what that's going to sound like. Now, you take that same garden hose, put your thumb over the end of it, cut it halfway off. All the volume's still back here in the hose. You still got the volume, but you don't have, you've got pressure now. Before you didn't have no pressure. You let off it, no pressure. Close this down. I just close my throat down. Come out with a little burst of air. Now you can spring a ton of pressure. So instead of going, you come out of here. Okay. Now, doing a high goose, a low goose. I get a lot of calls, a lot of you guys call me and say, well, I need a deeper sounding call. I want a deeper sounding call. In my opinion, I think the high-pitched noise is what gets the attention. It's kind of like, I like to try to explain it like this. It's kind of like if a lady was here and she was screaming at you across the field, or if I was here screaming across, I might be bolder, deeper, she'd be high-pitched. I'd probably hear her first. A high-pitched sound travels a long ways. And so those high-pitched clucks that you're not liking is really doing you a lot of good. You can listen out here. They're not real vocal right now, but you've heard some of them. There's some of them that's high-pitched, some of them that's low-pitched. Some of them don't even sound like a goose. They're a lot like a duck. Some of the ducks don't even sound like a duck sometimes. So if you got a high and a low, you know, you can put that into the call, but a lot of these high pitches you guys got that you're not liking comes out of a short reed is what kills geese, because they can hear you. This call here is a little deeper. You got another call here, and basically if you tune it lighter, it gets higher pitch. A lot of the migrators, I'm doing that to get their attention. Now, you want to get this call deeper? Just shut her down a little bit. One thing you might notice here, I don't pull this across the end of the call. Makes the call stick, gives it that buzzy sound, gives you a full sound. Open it up, let the call breathe. Don't put your hand, don't do that. Bring that hand out like this, leave the tongue down. Remember the flag. Some of these deeper sounds, remember, don't bring those hands over like this, just bring them down. I do that a lot when those geese are getting closer on that feeding ground. This one's tuned just a little harder, makes it a little deeper. Okay, now we went through the greeting call. The clucks. I'll talk about that in just a second. To me, that's one of the most important calls, the two goose sounds. hung down. That gets the geese attention a lot of times. You can bring that right on down to the ground right until you get into your feeding ground. We'll go through this one more time. Greeting call, the 2 goose sounds. We're going to go to the moan. Ee-yaw. Okay. It-aw, 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 it-aw. You're wondering where the hands are? That's your comeback call, or your burnt call. Or it-ooh, it-ooh. That's one I use a lot for a comeback call. Your double cluck, aka, 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 aka. Aka, aka, okay. You got that? Now you're bringing it down to the moans back. Now you're feeding growl. You're gargling. A lot of times in competition, a lot of you like to know about the competition. My website, you can check on there if we've won, who's winning, whatever. We've done real good, and a lot of it's because I give a lot of thanks to all my good callers I get out there that's been on the circuit. They've worked really, really hard, and they're very good callers, and I'm really, really happy to have them. And a lot of this is a lot of practice, dedication to the call. They mess with the call. Everybody says, well, I want a competition call. Well, I basically do not have, per se, a competition call. I can take your same call, I can tune it to be that. We have our own mold for the gut system, which is this right here, your guts, your reeds. We have our own mold system for that now. I can fix this up for you to be a competition call if you want to get into the competition calling. My competition call is tuned a little bit harder. I shave the reeds a little bit more than I do on the other calls maybe, and that's basically it. But most of the calls, I know Sean Stahl, he's got his around his lantern, he hunts with it. Matt Porter does the same thing with his. Jimmy Matson does the same thing out of Minnesota. There's several of those guys that do, that use that same call in the field. And so you can take the same call and walk on stage with it, a lot of you can. So I'm going to show you a little bit about this gut system. We've got our own gut system. If you guys any of you guys want to get a competition, I just shave this reed just a little more, and basically the same call we hunt. A lot of these guys hunt with the same call, like I was telling you. Now I'm going to show you a little bit about if you get your call dirty. A lot of you guys chew tobacco, that's fine, but you got to wash it out sometimes. You can basically take this thing and just wash it right out. But let me show you a little bit about how to do that. So you basically got the StraitMeat honker. This is the way to blow the StraitMeat honker. I've went through everything that I think you should know. If there's anything, you're having problems or anything, feel free to call me. A lot of times my line's busy, but call on my fax line. You can email me. Sometimes email me is better. Send your call to me. I'll be glad to retune it, repolish the band, polish the call up, send it back to you. We'll work with you in any way. If you need spare reeds, whatever you need, we've got any part for your call, and we'll stand behind you 100%. So if anything, you don't just sit there with calls and say, I think it's okay, it's not. Call me. Let me know. Send it to me. If you send it to me, just write me a little note. Ship it in the mail. We'll fix you up. Let's try to fool some of these geese. And that, folks, is what we call straight meat. Well, I'll tell you what, you got a lot of geese up here, don't you?
Yeah, we got a pile of them left. A lot of them moved out of here when it warmed up a little bit. They headed back north a little bit.
I'll tell you what, it's nice country up here. I haven't been in this part. I've been all over Michigan, but I've never been in this part. This is nice up here. I think I'm going to come up here next year with you.
It's good hunting, real good hunting. It's pretty competitive. But
you think that meat cutter work up here?
Works real good, works real good.
I tell you what, folks, we've talked a little bit about the short reed. Sean here won the 2000 World Championship with the StraitMeat honker, the short reed call, but probably on a fluke call, he's probably the best that I've ever seen, best I've ever heard. Sean started out a long time ago. I remember when he was just a kid, and he come up to Minnesota, and you want me to tune your call? He goes out and he beats me. And that's
kind
fine.
of a tradition now.
That's a tradition. He beats me all the time now.
I mean tuning my call.
Yeah, but you beat me all the time too.
No, not all the time.
So anyway, we want to get up here. I wanted to build a flute call. I'm basically a short reed caller, and I know you blow a short reed a lot too. But a lot of these guys out there are blowing that. They've blown a flute for years, and they want to blow the flute. They're so used to blowing a flute that they don't want to change. They like it, and there's nothing wrong with flute. They sound awesome. So, but I wanted to give them something that had a higher pitch crack to be in between the flute and the short reed.
Yeah.
And God, I messed around for a long time, and finally come up with this deal here that acrylic gives you that higher pitch crack.
Gives you that higher pitch crack, and I think you did a few other things that make it a little bit easier for the average guy to get deep with it too.
It does.
Some of your chamber sizes and everything you've done with it.
Right, and we got an O-ring design in there that helps stop, doesn't leak any air on it, you know, and keeps your mouthpiece. And the mouthpiece, we got that mouthpiece there. What I wanted to do was, if you blew a short reed or if you blew the duck call, your mouthpiece is all the same, so you're not switching. Don't get that round deal cut in your mouth all the time. I used to come up and spit and come out the side, and you lose air after a lot of
they're comfortable.
Right, it's comfortable.
Exactly. During the day.
But basically, you blow it like you do a traditional flute of any kind.
Yep.
You still have to make your back pressure on the call.
Yep, back pressure with your hands. Use a lot of words that end with T.
Right.
So you use the tip of your tongue.
Show us a little bit how you blow it. I'm gonna tell you what, folks. This guy's as good as there is, and I'm gonna let him show you the most of this, how to blow this flute. Show us a little bit about your hand position. Let's start with our hand position, where we put our hand.
I like to take the call, put it in my hand just like I do a short reed, wrap my finger around it.
Basically, you got your finger around that metal band right there.
Yep.
Pretty
Use
close
that metal
to that
band
right
as a reference point.
Exactly.
Wrap my fingers around. Put them semi-closed, bring my other hand up, and place it underneath it in a cup shape.
That's what creates your back pressure.
Creates the back pressure.
Right. And that cup right there, folks, makes a good crack. When that air hits that pot, it's like a pocket in there, and it makes a crack, and it gives you that little bit of more of a higher pitch sound when you hit that crack in there.
And you can adjust the sound by blowing either harder or softer and opening and closing your hands.
Right.
Changing the back pressure, opening your hands to create a higher pitch sound, closing your hands to get a deeper sound.
So you can get that two goose sound.
Correct.
You can get by doing the same thing by just moving your hand.
Yep.
Exactly. Kind of like on the short reed, you can do the same thing on the short reed.
Yep.
But with the short reed, it's not such a back pressure thing. The short reed there, you can basically open your hand up if you wanted to and do it with your throat. But with this call here, you create that back pressure, move this hand in and out, leave these hands. Basically, you don't move this hand much, do you?
Not very much at all. Just
kind of show them how you move your hand there. Turn your hand sideways there. Let's kind of see how you move. That's about it, isn't it? That's it.
I call this my on hand, and it just moves up ever so slightly. My off hand, I'll roll it around to throw the sound in different directions and to get the higher or deeper pitch sound.
Now, a lot of guys, the first thing you want to do is, and a lot of calls out there's already got a bell or something on it. There's great. A lot of traditional calls. I know Big River's got one out there. You know, a lot of people blowing a Big River. And it's a great call. Mick Lacey made a good call, but what happened here, he puts the bell on there and it makes his back pressure itself, so they want to do this. They're used to doing this. I see a lot of guys come up and they want to flip this up and down and they get, that's what you're going to get.
Right.
That's the difference between. So
your hand is the bell.
Exactly. Yep. Your hand's making that bell now, so you don't have to do this. You bring this hand down, just like Sean was telling you. Basically, that's it. You leave it there. That's the whole deal, isn't it? Now, talk a little bit about it. Why do you do with your tongue in there?
I like to use T words, anything that ends with a T.
Right.
To it, grit. Two-wit will give you the clear sound. The grit gives a little guttural throat sound.
T makes your tongue pop up.
T makes your tongue pop up, and your tongue will hit the. You can do it a couple of different ways to get some different sounds. You can use hit the tip of your tongue right behind your the top of your or the back top of your teeth.
Right.
Or you can use the bottom of your teeth to
Right.
get a little bit of a faster sound. Almost sticking your tongue down into the call a little bit, but still saying the T words.
Right. A lot of times I know I'll take my tongue and I'll flip my tongue right up into
Against
that
the roof
call.
of the- yep.
Right against the roof of
Yep.
that. Just stick your tongue right up in there to make that T. It's like you were in school when you were a youngster and you were in school and they used to say the T word. That word starts with the, ta, tap, ta. Anything. I always use my duck call. I say ant, ta,
Yeah.
ant.
Yep.
And that gives you
Gives
that
a nice sharp crack
gives you that sharp crack by saying ta.
to break it off.
A lot of guys want ant, you know, and that gives you that
Dragging it
that
down.
sound. It drags it down. It doesn't give you that good goose sound. But just start by doing a cluck. What would you do just to a basic cluck?
Just to do a basic cluck, sounds something like this.
And your tongue
I'd
was
say-
doing what?
I'm saying the word hut, or
Hut.
something close to that. You know, when I'm teaching somebody how to call, I'll give them a reference word to start
Right.
out with, two-wit, hut.
Right.
That's just something to get you in the ballpark.
Exactly.
Everybody's got different, mouth
Right.
cavity sizes or
As
hands.
long
are
as they
different.
can get that T in there,
Right.
and they get a ta,
Right.
that'll do it. Now to get that greeting call is more with the two-wit.
Yeah, it's a two-it. You're taking that cluck. There's two parts to a cluck. There's the her, onk, the
Right.
low, the high.
Exactly.
You stretch out one side or the other to make different sounds. The greeting
Right.
call's got more of the front end, less of the second end, so it's a two-it.
Okay, show them that. Now you see, folks, how you open that up. He got two goose sound. He got that two-wit. And do that again. Show them how you did it. How you open that hand. See, he moved that hand in and out to get that. He's got that hand out, and he's got it back in to get that whole sound right there, and that's what gives you that.
Gives you
And
that high
two
goose,
goose
deep
sound in
goose.
it. Exactly. And that's where that acrylic, I think, will give you that higher pitch crack. And with the new gut system we got in there, I think that's the kind of the key to it,
Yeah.
with the two combined together and the lengths and everything, together,
Yeah.
combined together, that's where we come up with that.
That high-pitched crack that this acrylic gives you, I think, helps out in a hunting situation
Right,
a lot.
right.
Sound carries a lot farther.
Now something I want to kind of go over, I said it in my short read tape a little bit. A lot of people think, or kind of under misunderstanding, that call there, the only time you can use a flute's over water.
No.
And I mean, I blow my short reed over water as much as I do
Yeah.
my flute. It just gives you, a flute doesn't have quite the echo as,
Right.
as when you're in a water situation where there's timber on the other side. But I've killed as many geese in the field with a flute as I have over water. So it doesn't,
It's another tool in your bag of tricks.
exactly.
And it's one that, if you can use it effectively
Right.
to your advantage, if you're hunting next to some guys that are blowing a lot of short reeds, if you're
Right.
hunting a club scenario, it's real competitive. Everybody's blowing a short reed and it all
Exactly.
sounds the same. You got to have something in your bag of tricks
Exactly.
to do. A lot of times it sounds really good if two guys in the pit are blowing a short reed and one's blowing a flute. Gives you a little bit of different goose sound.
Exactly.
Different days
But-
they'll react to different calls, and you
Right.
got to have those. You got to be able to use those tools. And
Oh yeah, a lot of times I'll pick it up, and I'm like I say, I blow a short reed most of the time, and I know you do too. But there's a lot of them days. If you or Cameron or any of your buddies are out there, and I know they're all short reed callers. If they get out there, I know a lot of times you're going to hit that flute, and that's
Give 'em a
you
little something
folks out there. If you got buddies out there and they're all short reed callers or they're all flute callers, and you can do either one, that's great. I mean, if you're a flute caller, it doesn't mean you have to switch over to short reed caller just because all your buddies is. It might be the best thing that happened to you. You just stick with that flute, and you get in the pit there, and you got 3 short reed callers. Now you got that flute. It's like in a refuge. I'll always listen, and I know you too. You hear these geese out here. You'll hear all these high-pitched geese, and all of a sudden you hear that old goose go, and that's the one that kind of sticks out,
Yep.
and it makes that transition. Kind of hard to talk about it
with all the geese flying around, yeah.
But
We want to get hunting here. Quit
exactly.
talking.
So now, let's get just the 2 goose clucks, and show how you do just the two clucks. See how he's just barely moving those hands? He You're just bringing that hand in, out, just barely move. You're not moving a whole lot to get that, are you?
Not at all.
And you're just doing that T word, a hut,
Yep.
hut, hut, hut.
Yep.
Exactly. Now, we get a moan on that call. You can do it the basic way I do it is I drop my jaw,
Yep.
and I do the same thing I do on a short reed. Basically, drop my tongue, drop my jaw, and go, oh. I found out one thing. I've tried to show people a lot of shows, a lot of different things, and one way to do that on a short reed or on this call here that might help you a lot. It seems like it helps to show a person how to do this. Is tell them when they go, oh, is to drop your jaw. Oh, oh. If you do that, that moan makes it a lot easier. And I personally think you can do a moan on a flute call a lot easier than you can on a short reed. I think it's easier to make that, to drop the jaw and get that out. Let's show us one of your moans and how you do it.
I do that real similar to how you do it. I say the same thing to people, drop your jaw, say the word aw, creates a lower air pressure system, gets deeper through the call. A lot of times I'll throw a cluck in at the end of it.
That's real good. It's real easy to do.
Really?
I think it's easier, it's easier to learn on a flute doing that than it is on a short reed. On a short reed, it's just awesome. It's awesome on short reed. It seems like it takes the guys a little bit longer to figure that out. Now, when you incorporate that cluck, it's like, folks, when a goose comes in here, when he's coming in all the way, that's the last sign of your sound is that
you hear that?
And if you got one guy doing that, and you got another guy on a short reed that's sitting there just clucking, the other guy's doing a little bit of a feed and growl.
Killer sound.
That's it. That's straight meat.
Get ready.
I'm telling you, get your gun.
I'm usually not calling by then. You are. I got my hand on the safety.
All right,
I gotta get the jump on you.
Now I want to talk a little bit about a comeback call. More so, like in contests and stuff, we have to throw that in there and use that. And I like to do a comeback call on a flute as good as anything. But more what I do is for a burnt call, because after you burn their butt, you call them back.
They gotta come back.
Yep. So them geese, you've
mama.
done shot them. You've shot these geese. You've got them all the way in here. You shot them. You didn't shoot very good. And here comes about 4 of those young ones. They're still flying around. They're wanting to find a place to go back to. Now you get on that comeback call. What I do on a comeback call is it ooh, and then everybody's got their own deal on. And I squeeze those hands down tight.
It's a screaming plead.
It's a screaming plead,
Yep.
and it's more excited you get, seems like, where you're going back. Now, most of the time, they're not going to come back and light in your face. They're going to come back and give you about that 30, 35-yard shot, and you can go ahead and get them. But let's show you how you do it, Sean.
I do it pretty similar to how you do a couple of different sounds. A lot of times I broke into some other stuff after that. They turn and come back in.
You got to
Get right back into them double clucks.
And the fast stuff.
Yep.
Okay, you just said something there. You just said something there. Everybody in the country, that's what they want to know how to do, double cluck. First thing you do is learn to walk or crawl before you walk. Start all the rest of the stuff, and then you can do the double clucks. The double clucks, to me, like at home, is an attention getter. You know, on the migrators. We hunt just a lot of migrators. I know you do here, too. I know in September you was getting migrators. And that double cluck at home, I use that more for migrators or something, or just like you said, on a comeback, just a hurry up attention getter to get them right back in. It's not like the most essential tool in my bag of tricks, but it's in there.
Yeah.
So I really don't go through a lot on the short reed tape to show how to do that, because I want them to get those basic clucks and moans down. But why don't you show them how you do your double cluck on it?
Just a 2-goose note. A couple of different scenarios. There's a moan cluck,
couple different ways to do it.
There's a moan, cluck, a cluck, 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 cluck. Just a high cluck, low cluck. That's one double cluck I do, and the other one is.
And then a lot of times, like right now, they're doing that, and then sometimes they're getting that. What I say is twitter.
Yep.
sounds. Okay, now we've got these geese turned around. We went through the comeback call. We went through the double clucks. We got them back. Now here they are. They're 150 yards out sailing, and they're coming right in. Now, we was in Southern Illinois this year, and Greg Mashon hollered out there. I'll never forget. He hollers out there. If you can, in our tape video, he says, "All right, StraitMeat." Well, what we're talking about this StraitMeat is, for you guys don't, StraitMeat is just those clucks, moans, and feeding grouse. Just the straight stuff sounds like a real goose instead of all that garbage. So all that fast stuff and all that gibberish stuff, you know, just that clucks and moans right down there.
Yep.
So now we got those geese in there 150 yards, and we're bringing them in. Now go ahead and let's hear you finish them. There you go. And you take the same time you're doing that, you drop it, flag this a little bit, right over your decoys.
Tease them a little.
Exactly. The flagging part I think is as important as anything. That Randy Barsh got a flag is unbelievable, you know. And a lot of times I'll just have it right outside the pit, just flipping it.
You know, that's a call.
Exactly.
That's a call. You call them visually and
exactly.
And vocally.
I always say, and I'm a call maker, and I should be pushing this call as much as anything, but it's hard for me to sit here and these geese flying everywhere. But if I had to lay both of them down here calling this, and you said, okay, pick one, I don't know what I'd pick. I'd probably pick the call because I'm a call maker, but I tell you what, I don't want to go without that flag.
A lot of days that flag works.
I'll have a hat flag. But it's just as important as the other. I tell you what, go through a whole scene. I tell you what, just run through a contest routine, a quick contest routine. And what we're going to do, folks, is
it's been a while. I haven't done
well,
that.
Well, that's okay. You're doing better rusty than most people ever can the other one. What we're going to do is I'm going to have him call. He sees the geese out there way across the trees. Now they start coming to him. They get all the way into him. He's about got them in his face, and he loses them. Somebody stuck their head up and saw their white face stick out, or saw a gun barrel or something, which happens a lot. And he loses them. He's got to call them back. He gets real fast with them. He brings them right down, and then the feeding growls, soft clucks, and right down to where you're ready to grab your gun. When he gets done with this, you can be ready to grab your gun. Okay, Sean, just put it. Once you do it, you got 3 bunches of geese coming around here. You got one bunch there, you hit a comeback call. They made a turn around here. That's good.
You get so wrapped up in the competition routines, you don't pay attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you just won, besides the world, you just won another world contest in Chicago. First one they ever had.
Yeah, it's called the World Callers Championship. You had to blow a short reed in one round, a flute in the other, and it was caller's choice in the third round.
Right.
Pretty neat deal. It shows versatility.
Right.
You know, in your calling.
Exactly, exactly. And there's a lot of guys in the contest field that do that. A lot of guys out there, folks, in the contest field, if you see them blowing a short reed, they can pick up a flute and blow it just good. And so there's a lot of guys who can do that. It's just not just a select few. I mean, there's several guys out there now. I mean, you know, when you first started, there was 15 guys out there calling. There was 3 of them probably going to win it. Mm-hmm. You know, 3 or 4. Now, this deal's a whole different ball game.
Yep.
And I ain't getting no younger, I know that. I'm the old man of the bunch.
Oh, they're catching me too.
They ain't caught you yet. But I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's both go through a little bit of a flute deal, just like you did. And then I'll tell you what, I'll keep blowing the flute about halfway through, and you pick up your short reed, and we'll go on through it. Folks, that's something you can do if you can make that switch. That's something sometimes if that flute's not working and you've got a short reed on your neck, pick that thing up and hit them with that. Sometimes maybe that one of the two, anything, and make a little bit of a change.
Something different, yeah.
Something different. They hear the same
noise
stuff.
they want to hear.
Exactly. They hear the same stuff day in and day out. So it's nice to be able to make that little change. So
we're just going to go through a little.
Yeah, just go through a little routine like we just saw the geese together.
Okay.
And we get about halfway through. If you want, just drop it and blow your short reed.
Okay. Shot a limit on that, Dale.
I tell you what, now I know what all these folks want to see, and I didn't have you with me. I was in Southern Illinois when we did the first part of this here, and we had 150,000 geese, and I know you behind us, and I know you was hammering them up here. There wasn't no getting us away. We was too far apart. But what folks is wanting to see, folks, this is a 2000 world champion. He's won more contests this year than anybody has. I mean, it is unbelievable what he's done this year with this short reed, and it really made me happy because, like I say, I'm a short reed caller and a short reed maker, and he's just went leaps and bounds. And we come out with a call, and I'm sorry we don't have the prototype here with us. It'll be out. We only made 200 of them, and it's a Sean Stahl World Championship Series call. And basically, what it is, it's the same call. This is a call that Sean's blew in the championships. It has his signature on the call, and if you'll look, we have the flared end piece on this right here, which was kind of a mistake when we come up with this when I was making my snow goose call. And I was trying to get this, we come up with this, I put a set of guts in it, makes a big difference. A competition deal. It's a little bit harder to blow.
It's real hard.
And it's not what I suggest for everybody, but you guys that want to get out there competition-wise, I mean, you can look what I blow in the field. I blow the regular StraitMeat honker with the holes just like this, or with the regular holes in there. It's great. And that's what Sean blows most of the time here with these. But also for his competition here, he's got a little, this gives you a little bit more of a crack to it, I guess. And I know what these folks want to hear here. They want to hear that World Championship competition round.
Boy, I'll see if I can remember it.
won you a lot of money this year. You did good. No, I tell you what, that's awesome, folks. I tell you what, there's not many people can stay up with him. I got a good team. Sean's one of the top players on the team. I've got a lot of good guys on my team. We've won a lot of contests with all of them. I got guys that blow a lot of flutes. John Bowen, he blows a flute. You're on the short reed most of the time. Matt Porter's on the short reed most of the time.
Mark Carey on the flute.
Mark Carey's on the flute.
Doing real good.
All these guys. I mean, we got Huey, our buddy Huey. If you ever call me,
Craig McDonald.
Craig McDonald's that's 3 years in a row. He's won a Canadian championship, and
he's got that country, doesn't he?
I'm telling you. I mean, that boy's awesome. He comes down here. I just like listening to him talk.
Hey,
he gives us a shout once in a while. Okay. He's a great guy, great caller. He comes down and guides with us at Heartland. Thanks a lot, folks. If you got any questions, you can call me at 217-734-1434 or check out our website. We got a contest page. Most of the contest page is filled up with this guy, but it's on www.foils's.straitmeat.com, and straight spelled S-T-R-A-I-T. Thanks a lot and good hunt.
let's get out of here and chase some more geese.
Heck yeah. Folks, I want to tell you a little bit about what we call the Tundra Saver. It's a snow and blue call, all acrylic snow and blue call. We've got a flared end piece on the call here to make it extra loud, and basically we use the StraitMeat honker, the barrel off the StraitMeat honker. We've still got the O-rings in there to keep the air pressure in, and it's a little easier call to blow. We do the guts a little different, but basically the reason we come up with this, acrylic gives you that real high-pitched sound, real loud sound, and we come up with what we figure is the loudest call in the market. Because snow geese, you know as well as I do, you snow goose hunters, they are tough to hear. They've got to hear you, and I mean the louder the better most of the time. One reason I want to come up with this, I've used several different snow goose calls and tuned my Canada call trying to get like a snow goose call, but what happened, I'd go out in Missouri, in Kansas and Missouri hunting these things, and I was with a good friend of mine, Big Mike Keller, and his buddy Kevin, and we were out hunting, and I said, you know what, the guys from Paradise Hunting Club down in Texas had told me that they'd use all the electronic callers and all this, and after about a week in Texas, now that's where they first hear them when they first get down there, they got used to the electronic collar deal. So what they would do is they would shut some of the collars down, get down to like a murmur tape on their collar, and they would finish them with their snow goose call. And they wanted to know if I'd build them one. A couple years ago, I come up with something. They sent me a tape back and forth, the rest kind of history, and we come up with this call. Basically, what you do for this call is blow straight through it. And you don't have to have all the guttural sounds like you do with a short reed goose call. Basically, like I say, you just go right through it and say, ha, ha, ha. And the neat thing about it is, the louder you go with this call, the more air pressure you want to put through, the louder it gets. Now your hand position with this flared piece kind of almost cocks your hands out just like this. And you can have it just like you're praying. Make like a church, like a teepee here, and just make, all you're doing is making echo chambers this. You can, all I'm saying is, ha! Now when you get a lonesome snow goose, he's got a sound that goes, oh, oh. All I'm doing is, oh, oh, oh. If you do it soft, it's more air pressure. doing? Blowing straight through that call. Very simple call to blow. One of the most important things on this call is the murmur. Now, on your, back to the short reed call, we do like we're gargling. Gar, 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 gar. You don't do that with this call. Don't come out of your throat with this. Go. Ar, 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 ar. Ar, 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 ar. Right up here with this part of your mouth. Ar, 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 ar. You can see how the different sounds, the different echo chambers will give you the older goose, the younger goose, the Ross goose, it'll give you all these goose sounds in here. Basically what we learned with this is, and like I say, we learned off these boys in Texas. They hunt them a lot more than we do. This year we went out and we killed around 300 snow geese this year, and probably half of them we killed using this. We went out, what we do is we have all our tapes running, and our speaker says it's a great attention getter. But as soon as we got their attention, back off the tapes go, we turn it down to just a murmur sound, and just start finishing with a call like this. And just get on it. And when they get in there close and they get down to that 80-yard deal, when they're doing that circling deal, just get on that murmur and that single goose. That's basically all it is. Real simple call. The acrylic and the flared in piece and all, it makes it loud, makes it real loud. So if you want to get them snow geese down to where you can kill them and finish them off, because they're the smartest bird I know. They're the smartest creature out there. They're a lot of fun to hunt. It's a lot of work hunting a snow goose. But if you want to get them down there and get them finished, get you a tundra saver and help save the tundra. StraitMeat name, buddy.
How about it?